Hello again. So welcome to my channel. So this is the video that you have been waiting for on Pisces moon. So with this video, we are going to conclude our moon sign panel series. And thank you so much for your interest. So again, I have an astrologer, a professional astrologer with the same moon placement and a participant, and we will discuss this moon placement in detail. So welcome, Nicole. Thank you for being here. So you can introduce yourself to the viewers.
Hi, thank you for having me. I have a special connection with everyone with the moon in Pisces. It's just like an instant familiar feeling. I am a Leo sun and rising, and my grandmother and mother were very much into astrology, tarot, all the metaphysical things. So I've known about it since I was born. And um, and I started to study astrology about 7 years ago, and I decided to do it professionally about 1 year ago.
No, perfect. So it's great that you follow your passion. Yeah. And yeah, Leo Sun Pisces Moon is an interesting combination because we will talk about that. Pisces Moon can change everything in natal chart. Exactly. So we will talk about that in detail. And again, I asked the same question to everybody. So when you think of Pisces Moon, what comes to your mind first? What do you think of first?
Well, sensitive, right? The
Yeah.
most sensitive of the sensitive. But I also think like old soul, you know, wise. This isn't our first rodeo. It's the 12th sign. I feel like we've kind of absorbed aspects of all the other signs, and we just have a deep knowing and understanding and love for humanity.
Yeah, exactly. So the feeling, intuition, and the sensitivity, and at the same time, you are right. So I think Pisces has a piece of all the other signs, all the other 11 signs. So, and you are also right that I think Pisces placements indicate being an old soul. So this is a pretty much evolved moon sign, and pretty much deep moon sign, and we will talk about that too again. So for that, when we think of sensitivity, so there is some kind of boundless like feeling, like you told us that you felt so close to us, so you felt like you knew people. But sometimes for Pisces people, I also observe that this can be too much. So feeling things can be too much. So what happens when you feel too much, and how do you kind of protect yourself from feeling too much?
Well, there's the shadow, right, of it, but it's ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, and so it's like big feelings, big love, big picture, right? And so I think we also kind of engage and then we have to disengage, just like the tides. And so for me, I was really lucky. My mother is a Pisces Cancer moon, and so she got me, and like I had psychic dreams as a kid, so I was left open, but I was left too open, right? So when I had to go out into the world, it was overwhelming, and I kind of shut down for a very long time. I had to. I kind of just. I was obsessed with Depeche Mode in high school. That was my religion. Music is what got me through it. Animals, pets really got me through it, and having those deep connections with certain people, you know, and and so then it was just really like we can feel foreign in our body, and so it's a matter of just like making peace and wanting to ground and be in our body, and then I think we're really balanced.
Yeah, perfect. So you said music. So I think kind of 12th house with and Pisces energy. So it's good to note that it's about inspiration as well. So music,
Mm-hmm.
art, creativity. So these things will also cherish your soul, I believe. And you also said grounding exercises, so which is perfect because like with feeling too much or feeling the energy of the places and people. So you also need to ground yourself in your body, like I am in this moment. So I am in my body and grounded. So that will be a cool tip for the viewers actually as well. Okay, perfect. So then I think you mentioned that it's ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So we know Neptune is about the oceans. So the oceans have no boundaries. So for that, boundaries can also be a type of problem with Pisces moon placements. So how do you evaluate your boundaries, or how do you set healthy boundaries? Or what do you do when you feel that your boundary is crossed?
It was a process for me. I I've recently learned to just energetic hygiene is so
Mhm.
important, and just to be really mindful of what I'm putting in my body, what my surroundings are. It's okay to take space and need our alone time and downtime.
Exactly. So, for Virgo moon, it's interesting. So we talked about cleaning again, about physical cleaning. But for Pisces moon, it is energetic cleaning. So it can be
Yeah.
cleaning like and it's the space of your energy, the energy of your space. That's cool. Like the same but opposite.
Well, it's on the healer axis, right? So it's opposite Virgo. So we're healers. We want to be of service, but Virgo is more in the physical realm, and we're more in the spiritual, emotional realm,
Exactly.
right? The big, and they want to like dilute it and make things get into the details, and we're about just the big picture, you know?
Exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
So also like you have moon in Pisces, and you also told us that like your parents, sorry, your mother and grandmother are also into astrology. So you kind of inherited that from the family. Yeah, we can also see these things in the moon sign. I'm not surprised. So you also told that like they taught you how to control your intuition or senses in a way to protect yourself. So can you talk
Oh, they
more about
didn't.
this? Huh?
No, they actually left me open, right?
Open,
So they
okay.
taught me telepathy. They taught me, a lot of, we're all very intuitive, I think, in our own way. And
Yes,
they just were very encouraging. They didn't
yes,
shut that part of me down, but I didn't really, they were also the same way. So they didn't really have the tools to function very well in the physical
exactly,
world. And
exactly.
so that was something that I had to learn.
Yeah. So yeah, I meant like they thought you control your skills, so like you use them carefully and knowingly, so that they left you open in a way. So I also know many Pisces moon who are struggling with their intuition, with their feelings, so or who are trying to make peace with their intuition. So how can someone achieve that with this moon placement?
With it. Again, it's just being really aware uh, well, it's a process, right? So it's asking yourself, is this mine or is this theirs?
Yeah,
And really kind of taking that space. And even like meditation was so helpful for me, and just being in nature and just really, also pulling the energy back and creating boundaries within ourselves, right? We just tend to be leaky and want to give and just, you know, suffer in a way and also just sacrifice. So it's like you got to have that balance of self-love as
yeah.
well.
Perfect. Exactly. Self-love is the key term. Self-compassion,
Mhm.
self-love. Exactly. So as we talked in the beginning, we said that Pisces moon can be a game changer. For example, you have Leo sun, Pisces moon, so different energies, or Aries sun, Pisces moon, for example, or let's say Sagittarius Mars and Pisces moon. So that can be a bit of different energy. So how can you or can we the kind of incorporate the Pisces moon placement into the natal chart? So how can we make it work better with the other placements because that will show a different side of personality. For example, for you, how did you combine Leo Sun and Pisces Moon? I'm so curious.
Well, there's a lot of things to look at, right? Like your progressions and the solar return. And I would always look to the opposition, right? And then, so grounding, obviously. I would look to Virgo and how to create the balance. But um, so I'm a night chart as well. I think that's kind of important. That's why, I may look like a Leo, but I always resonated mostly with the moon, right? And I feel like the water kind of put out my fire for a while. But then there's certain transits that can activate the, the fire sign or the other elements. Um, I guess it could be, it can get a little steamy, right? With the fire and the water.
Yeah,
Um, and then you just need to look at the elements in your chart. I always say, like, what's the weakest? And then really kind of connect to that the most.
definitely. So the whole elemental structure will be pretty helpful. So you are
Yeah.
right with that. And
I
then,
luckily have Venus and Mercury in Virgo. Otherwise, I think I would have just been like out of my mind. And it's opposite my moon's opposite Mercury. So it's always kind of this push pull of, but I know, like, I just know, I've got the intuition, but then the analytical mind, this is like, well, why do you know? Let's break it down, right? And so it has been a lifelong struggle with finding that balance.
yeah, that is an interesting combination. Mercury and
Yeah,
Virgo. I also have the same placement, Mercury and Virgo. And I
yeah,
mean, yeah, but my moon is in Scorpio, so they can be kind of bad duo, Scorpio and Virgo. So like introspective, so like questioning and so on, whatever. Okay, so
yeah. The rabbit holes, all the rabbit holes.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And then, yeah, we talked about boundaries, intuition, compassion, and I think Pisces placements or 12th house placements as well are also known for some tendency for addictions. So this doesn't have to be alcohol or drugs. So it can be addiction to someone, relationship, to a place, to something, to belief. So how can we evaluate addictions regarding Pisces moon?
Yeah, I think I was also really, it's been really challenging. I have Saturn in my 12th house, but I also think it restricted me from really getting into, I also, I think I had a past life and I overdosed in a past life too. So in this life, I was just like, I'm not messing with it. But I, growing up, music and TV were my addiction and sugar,
Yeah,
right? And so that's very Neptunian. So um, again, go back to nature. Really be mindful of where you're giving your power away and how you're checking out. Sometimes we need it, especially in Pisces. We need that fantasy world. But again, we're here right now. Yeah.
definitely. So sometimes we need to escape. We all do, but we must be here back. Not always. Definitely. Okay. So
And find
yeah,
your hobbies, right? Like connect to, have your outlets, your healthy outlets. If it's music, if it's, you know, whatever it is, but just bring a little bit of that Saturn
yeah,
energy, right?
exactly. So that grounding energy of Southern. Yeah,
Boundaries, right? A little bit of restriction. We don't
exactly.
want that. I don't we want it all.
So, like when I see in a chart, for example, Saturn-Neptune square, Saturn-Neptune conjunction, I kind of like it because they balance each other. So the Pisces also needs some Saturn. So right now we also have Saturn in Pisces. So
We do.
yeah, that is some balancing energy.
Very
Okay,
sobering times for us, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
12,000 Pisces are also about dreams. For example, I know many Pisces people who have really interesting dreams, whether from the past or to future. So, are you also like that, for example, for dreams?
For sure. And actually, I just remembered I would sleep was an escape for me when
Uh-huh.
I was, for a long time, sleeping and music, right? Um, but yeah, dreams are always active, always remembering them. But again, they would get a little foggy. I would have psychic dreams, what for me, and then some of it would be, just stories. It would be just stuff from the day. So it was always unclear of what was what until things played out. But journaling is always really helpful.
Yeah, I think so. Journaling is pretty helpful. Perfect. So, these are our like keywords for Pisces moon. So, would you like to add anything else for keywords that you would like to discuss?
Keywords. Um, I think we're good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Okay, so we will also talk about relationships and motherhood and parenthood. So, but before them, I would like to ask Manuel, so for his reflection, or if he would like to add something on what we have talked so far.
Well, actually, it's pretty resonate many things. I think that I also have one friend who has a Pisces moon, and we always have this kind of intuition into others, this kind of like empathy into other people, trying always to help them somehow. um, Also this interesting thing that our ancestors, like our mothers and grandmothers, they have some kind of connection with these arts. Also, I have my mother that she practiced some arts, and I've been into that since I was a kid. Um, so this is really, really something that quite resonate a lot. And one of the things I also kind of like was working into boundaries. Well, my son is in Capricorn, so somehow I had this division into what is the emotions and how I put into others' emotions and what I feel. And maybe because this is what I consider the approach to Pisces, right? The evasive, sometimes like being a little bit evasive of our reality and trying to escape all times in our dreams, but also is it's really kind of help us to deal with this daily basis. At the same time with the artist approach, the music somehow helped me a lot to involve into my own feelings and to express them, and painting.
Yeah, definitely.
mhm,
So that artistic expression, basically.
sure.
Thank you, Manuel. And one thing I also want to talk is the self-sacrifice and guilt psychology with the Pisces moon, with Pisces energy. So for that, as you said, there's high level of empathy, so high level of feeling. So they might feel responsible for someone else's feeling, or they might feel responsible for what happened to someone else. At the same time, then you also mentioned that like Pisces Virgo wants to help. So Pisces wants to help, but when they cannot help or they cannot help the way that they want, so they can feel guilty because like they might feel like I could have saved it, I could have saved this person. So again, this goes back to boundaries. But if you would like to add anything on guilt psychology, for example, I would also love to know.
Yeah, and I think we can also feel like the victim
Yeah.
that we want to be saved, right? Because both ways. And I would say that Jesus is the Piscean archetype, you know, like the higher consciousness, and then the just self pity and everything's wrong with the world and this fear and anxiety. I feel like we can go. We have those extremes. It's the two fish, right? It's the duality, as
Yeah.
above, so below. And we can just go. I don't think we go as dark and deep and swampy as a Scorpio. I still feel like there's some kind of purity, which again is that healer, the Virgo Pisces axis, but we can go there, you know, and we can stay there just as long as we can stay, you know, out in the ethers. So
Exactly.
we have to heal ourselves too to be healer, right? So I think again, it's like we can project all about the things we want to do for humanity, but we gotta bring it back to ourselves first, you know. And
Definitely.
it's like the typical put the mask on you first, right? I mean, I will not even think. I will see a dog in the middle of the road and I'm going to stop my car and go out. I'm not even thinking I could get hit, you know? So it's a process.
Yeah, the process, exactly. So at the same time, like heal yourself first. This is something amazing that you say. Because if you don't secure yourself, you won't be able to help others, basically. Perfect. So now, let's get into mother and child relationship because as we know, mom represents our mothers. So, or parenting at the same time. So for Pisces moon and the mother, so what type of relationship is there?
Ooh. I mean, I remember being in the womb. We just had a very deep connection. I know karmically, like we kept going back and forth where I was her mother, she was my mother, and I very much felt like the growing up, you know. But she was so supportive and sweet and loving, and just deeply understood my sensitivity,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I think she just wasn't really capable of helping me out. She had such a hard time with it. But I also noticed people with moon in Pisces usually have a very spiritual or religious mother, and there's that just deep cord, deep connection, telepathic, you know. And we would dream. She would have dreams about me if we were, you know, just connected on all the levels.
Yeah, exactly. There will be deep connection. Then, for example, um, there is deep connection, but this can also create some boundary
For
problems.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
exactly. So for the child, so there might be some boundary problems, or for the mother, she might make some unnecessary self-sacrifice. So again, how can uh, these two people establish healthy boundaries as a mother and a child?
Well, it depends on the sign of the mother, you know. I
Exactly.
mean, it's definitely trickier with a Pisces mother, but I think for any mother that has a child with the moon in Pisces, just give them an outlet, you know,
Yes.
and make them feel safe. And you know, if they're overwhelmed, give them the tools to process that. Give them pets, you know, to learn to regulate and um, to just it can also feel very lonely, right? You
Uh,
know, when you go off in your world. And so um, try to have them in community.
Exactly. So, processing will be pretty important. So, I think with Pisces moon, you need time to make bonds and feel connected to something or someone, like pet, for example. So, processing will be a lifelong process for Pisces moon, I believe. Okay. So, and these are also pretty cool parenting advice. I'm sure the parents will listen to it. And then, so for Pisces moon, for example, for Pisces moon person to be the mother or the father, so what type of parenting can we expect from Pisces moon parent to the child?
Mm. I actually didn't have children. I had a dog, and I was just so my mother was so overprotective and
Uh-huh.
so fearful of the world, you know,
Yeah.
that she isolated me. And I was so afraid that I was going to do that to someone else. I didn't know how to just let them be free. So it was really challenging. I hope the parents have some other elements in that chart, but yeah, it's tricky.
Exactly. So you said Scorpio moon. So I know that from my mother as well. So protective. So afraid that something will happen to the child. So the child will get lost or something like that. So that can also lead isolation, as you said. So, but offering the space and freedom to the child will also matter.
And
Perfect.
hopefully you've done a lot of inner healing as well, right? So you're not, boundaries, and you've processed some of the stuff.
Exactly. Okay. So motherhood, parenthood. So Manuel, would you also like to share anything on this topic?
Sure. Well, I am the last of three siblings, and the time gap is quite long. It's 12 years with my oldest brother. In this case, with my mother. My mother is a Virgo sun. I was very isolated. So I was always like kind of like having my world in my mind and having my own way of developing during the childhood. Then is when I already got as a teenager, then I create my bonding and I create all this healing process with the mother figure. But one of the things I read, I don't know if you can comment about that as a moon in Pisces, we also, apart that having parents, we also have some kind of like a role, role figure and this kind of like a taker. I resonated in myself because for me, the care mother taker was mostly for my biggest sister. And this was something like I developed this connection as a mother for her when I was very kid, very little. And then when it develops, then all the structure was healed. But yes, this is kind of like the things I got curious that I read years ago, but I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, so I will also think about that. So I often see with Capricorn moon, for example, being raised by the grandparents. So, but for Pisces moon, yeah, it can also be about some special connection with women, for example, with Cancer moon as well. So, like aunts, sisters, grandmothers, and so on. So we can also expect some connection with the feminine energy, definitely. Okay,
And
thank
then the
you.
house that it's in as well,
Yeah,
that's really important. Like mine is in the eighth house. So
um,
there could be trauma from the mother
exactly,
passed on, and also inherited gifts, right?
exactly. Pisces, the karmic sign, so inherited
Yeah.
gifts or problems or inherited trauma. This can also be possible. Okay, so then let's get into relationships because by moon is pretty much activated in relationships. So it what makes us feel fulfilled overall. So for Pisces moon and relationships, so we talked about boundaries, empathy, feelings, intuition. So I think relationships can be kind of like a field that they explore themselves, like they explore their boundaries, they explore like their feelings. So my first question will be, so what does a Pisces moon want in a romantic relationship?
Well, I would say definitely, I don't know if I necessarily believe in this, but like the whole twin flame, soulmate, like that, they just want that full self, connection with another person where we're just one, you know. For me, I I loved musicians, right? Because I felt like they were speaking my language and I could connect to them that way. But you can also see the potential in everyone, and everyone's got something good in them, and it can lead you down a dangerous road, and so I have Neptune in my fifth house too, so I could be somewhat delusional and miss red flags. Um, so, but ultimately, it's the greatest love, right? love heals everything. Love is the answer for everything.
Yeah, exactly. The intense love, pure love, probably it will be something that they will look for. But you also said something good, like a warning, potential. So you should not fall for someone's potential. Like you should evaluate the person as who they are in the current moment. Okay, so like it's good that you said it. And then what makes a Pisces moon to escape from a relationship, to end the relationship?
I think if someone wants to try to, they don't understand your sensitivity. There's clearly a disconnect. If they're not kind to people, animals, that's always just not going to work. Someone that can appreciate the space that you need. I have a really hard time sleeping with next to people because I just kind of pick up their energy, right? And so someone that's okay with me not necessarily sleeping with them all the time, that can be a challenge. So I'm grounded. Like if they're just as watery and ungrounded, that can be, we're just off in la la land, you know?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so then in relationships, like the space as well will be important. Having your own personal energetic space will be pretty important, as far as I see. And then for uh yeah, I'm also curious. So when you think of your relationships, let's say all the past relationships or intimate relationships, which moon sign are you most compatible with, in your opinion, or in Pisces in general?
Gosh. Mm, there's just so many other factors I think that go into it.
Exactly.
But I pretty much everyone I've done a reading for and most of my friends all have a water moon.
Yeah.
It's like Scorpio or Pisces moon. It's just
Mhm.
usually how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I call you guys sister moon. Pisces moon, sister moon.
Right.
Okay. So for relationships and then Pisces is also a very collective sign. So like it's about the society as well, collective mind, collective unconscious. So how is the relationship with the society, for example, the relationship with the outside world with Pisces moon?
What is the relationship with the outside world?
With the society.
Um, well, it depends on what spectrum you're at, right? So
Yeah.
it can be a really harsh, it's a horrible world. It's just people are, all the negative things in the world, or it can be really optimistic, you know. Um, but I think we have such big hearts. We really just hold space for the collect. We feel it all, right? I feel like we're the ones that, back in the day could say, "Hey, tribe, there's danger coming," right? And
Exactly.
so we're always able to, you know, our spidey senses and for what are just can overcompensate sometimes, but also just really heighten situational awareness, in situations and a high emotional intelligence. And so we're also really good listeners.
Mhm.
I find that everyone will just, and I like to go deep real quick. I don't like small talk. So I find that pretty much everyone will tell me their life story the first time I meet them. So they know we're a safe place that they can share.
Yeah, definitely. And I also feel that non-judgmental energy with Pisces moon. So that is
Yeah.
boundless. So come as you are, be yourself, be who you are, just tell me. So I love that. I love that non-judgmental energy. Perfect. So for relationships, would you like to add anything else, Nicole?
I would say earth moons are probably good too.
Uh-huh.
You know, that would be really helpful to have sometimes, again, with all the water. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you. And Manuel, let's listen to you now about relationships.
Sure. Our relationships, well, as Nicole said, we in Pisces Moon, I think we always want the unity with the other person, or sometimes we can be very idealistic and very optimistic in this in this aspect, right? Trying to have this perfect illusion or idea. Well, at least I I detach very easily from that. Also, I can go very quickly into these deep emotions, but I detach also at the same time very easily because I have my Venus is in Aquarius, so I kind of like have
Mm.
this mixing of emotions. But one of the things also it's like we want always to heal the other person, and we want even the red flags. We want to have at least to give the opportunity. And one of the things you said, like, is totally true. That we accept everyone by how they are. We don't put judgments, because we understand more than the person. We understand the backgrounds, and we try to understand everything that comes with a person and how they become themselves. And I think that also we apply it a lot in relationships. My That relationship was very nice. We finished as friends, but we never had a fight. For example, we never argued. It was really nice. And we always have many kind of the judgmental behavior or anything like that. And as a collective, also I should say, like, we want to we have this perception from the others, and we understand quickly what can be happening, what can be warm from other people. So that maybe we all of those people going for us for advices too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So that's the cool relationship advice. If you are into Pisces moon, listen to him. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so we talked about the topics, relationship, motherhood, and some keywords. And for final remarks, would like to add anything that we missed? Like if you want to talk, it's your turn.
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Exactly. So we did a good job. Thank you so much. Okay, Manuel, would you like to add anything for yourself too?
Actually, I really, I really like this. This was very nice to be here. Thank you for both. And it's really, really nice understanding also to this complex moon.
Yeah, definitely. So I think like as Nicole said, it's process. So for example, if we do the session for 5 years, like if we do the same session 5 years later, we will talk about different things. So it's a big process. So
Sure.
with Pisces moon. So I agree with that. Thank you so much. Okay then, so let's conclude the video. Thank you for being here, Nicole and Manuel. So thank you for your time and insights. So for the viewers, this is the end of the video and see you next time with the North Node series in August. So take care and goodbye.